I feel like that's an interesting topic to talk about, though. Getting bigger guests. Because I know that we got Tai, which was awesome. We've got a couple other big guests in the works. But from an outsider's perspective, whenever I saw a smaller podcast get a big guest, my whole thing was like, oh, it's complete luck. And just wrote it off as like, oh, they must know somebody, which is true to a certain extent. But you definitely have to put in a ton of work behind the scenes. So I don't know if you guys have any stories, because you guys were running a podcast for, 2 years back in college? Like, what's the key to actually landing a bigger guest that you really, in some way, have no business getting?
I mean, I think
it's a volume game.
If you want to start off, and we could kind of collab on this live by telling the story of how we got Tai Lopez on the podcast, because a lot of people reached out to us after that episode went live, and we're like, how much should you pay to get Tai on? And I'm like,
how much did you pay?
I'm like, I didn't pay him anything, bro. We paid for the episode to be produced, like we paid for every episode to be produced, especially that one. That one was a crazy story, actually. We'll go way back to how we got him on in the first place, but I think we might have already talked about this. But anyways, we were in London for our Client Ascension event, and Dan was going back and forth on WhatsApp with Tai and his team trying to line up the podcast, and we finally lined it up. And that morning, we were supposed to have our videographer arrive from Miami, and his flight got overbooked, and he didn't end up making it. And so I wake up like a couple hours before we're supposed to do a podcast in person with Tai, and we have no videographer and no podcast equipment. And so we had to, like Dan said, it wasn't luck. It was a lot of hard work and a lot of communications that had to happen to find someone that had all the equipment and the proper setup for us to do that episode. So the behind the scenes of how these things happen, it just makes you appreciate what a lot of these bigger podcasts are able to pull off consistently.
Yeah, and the money's in the follow-up is the moral of the story. Like, the way that we got in touch with him was super random. It was your cousin's boyfriend was an NFT holder of his, and he invited you. I don't know. He's probably trying to make a good impression with the family still. Is a relationship still at that point? But he invited you to the Heat game, which was awesome, and he had an extra ticket because he has a twin who was also an NFT holder, which was pretty funny. And you invited me because
we're twins too.
Yeah, because we're twins. We're first cousins.
So obvious.
So obvious.
No, I don't think
I'm just a little bit bigger. But
yeah, exactly.
Right,
exactly. Been hitting the gym. I mean, the kid is getting big. But anyways, I digress. I was a huge Miami Heat fan, still am, and I was like, fuck yeah, I'll go to a game and sit in a box with Tai Lopez. And when he was kind of going around and like greeting everybody that was in the box with him, I feel like we just hit it off just because he was asking, like, oh, what's your name? What do you do? I started talking about Client Ascension, and I started talking about sales team management. He had some questions for me, and I feel like by my response, he was like, okay, this kid somewhat knows what he's talking about. And it turned out that one of the guys that was working with him was looking into the same program that we're a part of. So I started just sharing some information, some knowledge from right there.
Some knowledge.
And he was like, okay, that's pretty cool. So I said we should stay connected. I'm down to hop on a call with his sales director or whoever's helping him out with sales just to provide some free value, build a relationship. Sorry, there's like a fucking fly on my glass. And I got his WhatsApp number. And then I think it was like 4 weeks before the episode, we were all like, yo, we got to get bigger guests on. And I don't know how we're going to do it, but let's just focus on the inputs. Let's reach out to like one guest a week, send him a video message, a voice note, whatever. And I picked Tai the first week just because it was an easy one to hit, just because I already had his WhatsApp. Nothing happened, didn't get back to me, just because it was pretty general. Then it just so happened he had an event in London the same time that we had an event in London. So I was able to reach out and be like, yo, I just saw you're going to be in London from these dates. We're going to be here from these dates. We have an event on a yacht, a little flex. Let me know if you have 45 minutes free. We'd love to do something.
Bro, I remember he immediately
got right back to me. Like within 5 minutes. It was
that was crazy.
It's like, oh, shit.
This is real.
It's like when you cast a fishing net, you're like, oh, I think I got something.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And then, just followed up with his assistant a ton. And even on the day of, because, like, they're super busy. So they're obviously not just, like, communicating with me back and forth every time I send a message. Christian was like, yo, they're coming, right?
We're literally set up, and Dan's, like, on his phone, like, trying to play it cool, but you could tell he was a little skeptical. I'm like, dude.
Yeah, we're like, he's not going to show up.
We just had these guys driving 2 hours to
Did I ever say he wasn't going to come, though?
You look skeptical.
But did I ever say he wasn't?
He never
Obviously,
lost
you wouldn't
faith.
say that.
Assumptive close.
Fuck it.
Hey, guys, if you enjoyed this short clip, check out the full interview here. And if you want to see more clips from this episode, check it out right here.